Welcome back everybody, or welcome if you're new. Today we're going to be making our favorite sandwich bread. I got this recipe from Rachel over at the 1870s Homestead. It's a really good recipe. I used my bread maker to mix the dough and let it rise, and then I do the rest out of the bread maker. But you can use a mixer or use your hands if you want to do that. I have 1 cup of warm water. You want it warm but not hot. If you get it too hot, you kill the yeast. 1/3 cup of sugar and 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. I have instant yeast. You can use active yeast, but you'll have to let it set for 5 minutes to bloom. I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then I'm going to add 3 cups of flour to start with. And then I'll show you here in a few minutes. I check and see if I need any more flour, depending on how wet the dough is. Or I may need to add a little bit more water if it's dry. Now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm just going to turn my bread maker on and put it on the dough cycle. I'm going to let this mix a little bit and then I'll be back to check on it. Okay, I'm going to check on my dough. It's pulling away from the sides at the bottom there. And I'm going to check it to see if any dough comes up on my fingers. There's none coming up on my fingers, so it's good to go. I'm going to close the lid and let this finish mixing. And as you can see, it rose. It takes about an hour and a half altogether. And like I said, you could use the mixer or your hands. You would have to knead it like 10 minutes and then put it in a bowl and let it rise. Here I'm just punching it down and I'm going to put it on the cutting board. Now I'm going to flatten this out to the size of my loaf pan. I'm going to use a little bit of flour here. Not very much though. You don't want to use a lot of flour. Just so the dough don't stick to my cutting board here is all I'm using it for. And like I said here, I'm going to flatten it out to the size of my loaf pan. I have a USA pan, and I learned this technique here from the Needy Homesteader. She really helped me to make bread watching her videos. She is such a wealth of knowledge and she explains things very well, so it's easy to understand. And here is the USA pan. It has a lid. I'm not going to use the lid today. I have used it. It makes like a square loaf. Today I'm wanting to make a poofy loaf. Just sizing it up here to see if I've got it long enough. Here I'm just going to finish it by rolling it out a little bit. You don't have to roll it out. Sometimes I roll it out, sometimes I just use my hands to press it out. Now I'm going to just take and roll up the dough. I learned this from Heather at the Needy Homesteader. Just roll it up tight as you can. And then we're going to pinch the ends there together. And then sort of just roll it up to where you can try to shape it a little bit to where everything's even. Pinch the ends there a little bit. Now I'm going to take the end here. I'm going to push this in, pull it up, and then squeeze it together. And that makes a nice edge to your bread. I'll do that on the other end too. Now I'm going to put it in the pan and sort of just flatten it out the best I can. And I will tell you, this bread kind of turned out a little lopsided, but it's just where I didn't have it even across the bread, but still good. Now you need to put a towel over it and let it set in a warm place for about an hour. My kitchen stays pretty cold, so I turn on the oven 350 for just a few seconds, and then I turn it off. And then I put my bread in there. And as you can see, it poofed up, a little lopsided, but it'll all be good. Now I want to set my oven to 350. And I'm going to put it in there for 30 minutes. Without the towel, of course. Here it is out of the oven. I'm going to take it out of the pan right away. And then I'm going to take a stick of butter and I'm going to slather the butter all over it. This will help keep your bread soft. Now it's a very hard thing to do, but you need to let your bread set for 30 minutes to an hour to cool down a little bit. That way it's easier to slice and the slices are in better shape. Here it is cooled off. Want to slice a piece. Electric slicer would be better. I've got one. I just sliced it up though. Really soft, really good bread. And on this day we had tomato soup. Y'all seen that video already. And we had grilled cheese, and this is Daniel's. He likes his bread just toasted in a pan with some butter. I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope you have a blessed day and come back and see us.